University of Alabama, online.
We offer one who has the will to win, who not only deserves success, but commands it.
So, Dr. Crosby, I wanted to ask you, in The Soul of Wealth, you emphasize that money is rarely just about the numbers. It often reflects who we are, where we come from, what we value. And those values don't exist in a vacuum, especially during college when there's social expectations and financial pressure in ways that collide that are very real. So, Dr. Crosby, how does personal identity, family background, culture, life experiences, how does that shape the way that people relate to money?
Yeah, one of the things that we know, I said in my conversation yesterday that a fish doesn't know that it's wet, right? So all of us grow up in financial environments. Money is ubiquitous. There's no getting around the need or the use for money. So all of us grow up in families of origin and in cultures and in geographies that have certain attitudes and mores around money. And these things are largely unexamined for most of us. We don't critically think about them. It's just kind of the way things are. However your parents raise you, your culture, your religion, whatever it may be, that's just sort of the way things are with money. Now, you come to college, and I think for a lot of young people, college, living with roommates, interacting with people from different walks of life, is your first experience to a less homogeneous money culture. And so I think college is a wonderful opportunity to heighten your awareness of where your financial values may or may not be what you need them to be going forward, how you may have sort of uncritically swallowed some of those assumptions, and how you can actually act differently. So I think college is a super valuable time because for a lot of young people, it really is that first time that we shine a bright light on the difference between how I grew up and then how other people grew up. And you can be thoughtful and deliberate about, choosing the parts that work for you and leaving behind the parts that don't.
So, Evan, I want to start with you this time and ask all of you, can you share one way that your background or upbringing has influenced
Yeah, for sure.
the way you spend or save?
Being brought up, one of the biggest things I was raised on was success with my mom and dad. They explained to me that success is not only measured by how much money you have. Everybody views success differently. It could be the amount of vacations you go on. It could be how big your house is and stuff like that. But they told me that I don't have to be the best. I just have to be my best. So in order to be successful, you have like drive, determination, and yeah.
For me, that's kind of the same. Success was always growing up for me was determined by the things that you had and, the things you wore and stuff like that. But now that I'm learning more about financial literacy, I feel success is being stable and being able to do what you want and how you want to do it.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off of that. If I'm looking at savings and then success as two different kind of categories, from a saving standpoint, I feel like that was just cemented through like my upbringing, through my family. Saving was always a priority, not super materialistic, keeping up with the Joneses per se. And then to pivot to success, I kind of align with what both of them are saying, not really what your monetary yields are based on your profession or whatever that may be, but more so just how effective you are. And I think fulfillment is derived from that as well.
Let's turn to the realities of the student experience. So college brings unique financial pressures. For our in-person, on-campus program, there's social expectations, maybe Greek life, travel, even keeping up with friends. For the online students that are navigating, there's new platforms, there's maybe work-life balance, busy schedules. So Dr. Crosby, from your research and your work, what financial traps do students most often fall into, and why are those things so tempting?
So James just talked about keeping up with the Joneses, and I think that's one of the big traps that we fall into. I think as young people and as students, again, going back to being surrounded by new opportunities, new people, new ways of life. It's easy to want all that stuff all at once. And the research on keeping up with the Joneses is pretty incredible. In The Soul of Wealth, I cite over 350 different studies that show that people who are engaged in this trying to keep up with what the person next to you are doing are some of the most miserable people on earth. Really, when we look at financial contentment, who you are referencing is a better predictor of whether or not you feel financially contented than even how much money you have. So your reference class would be sort of who you're benchmarking your life to. So I think, college is a time where people can get in a lot of trouble too. Credit card offers are there. You're an adult for the first time. There's lots of sort of basic financial planning pitfalls to fall into, and those things certainly need to be educated against and avoided. But I think once we get to the more sort of black belt type considerations, keeping up with the Joneses is certainly a problem, and it's one of the surest paths to misery and financial ruin. And I talk in the book about how many people try and keep up with the Joneses and then, basically are spending money to impress people that they don't like and buying stuff that they don't need. I mean, it's just this empty sort of vacuous pit that we fall into.
The old Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
So for you guys, Amani, I'll start with you and ask each of you, what financial pressures feel most real to you now, and how do you try to navigate that?
For me, I would say just like going on trips with my friends, like throughout the year, like throughout the school year, they want to go on a lot of trips, but I can only do what my wallet allows me to do, because I'm a full-time college student. So just navigating that and just being true to myself and knowing you can do some things, but you don't have to do everything that your friends want to do.
Right. What do you think? What about you, James?
Currently, I guess this is a apt time to be asking that question. I'm looking to sell my truck and buy a different car right now. It's a little more fuel efficient, so that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. That'd be the most pressing financial demand, looking at what my trade-in value would be versus what I'd actually be looking for and what would be practical in different environments.
Big decision.
Mm-hmm.
Big decision. What about you, Adam?
For me, it'd probably be paying off my student loans. Like Dr. Crosby said before, one of the best investments is investing in yourself. So with graduation approaching, trying to figure out where I'm going with my next job, and then trying to figure out how to buy a house or rent a place. Also trying to live a comfortable life while paying off student loans. That's probably one of my biggest right now.
So navigating these pressures is really a part of becoming an adult, and it also shapes how students think about their futures.
This has been a production of the University of Alabama Online.